In part one of this little mini series about protein myths, we covered the concept that a high protein diet was inherently dangerous. And we've busted that myth. And so we are on to myth number two. Now, with the proliferation of high protein diets, then there has been very much a big surge in supplement companies and their protein related products. And this has led to what I think has been a few various different myths being bandied around, that protein foods and protein shakes in general are better for you than normal food, and that in terms of a protein source, a protein shake and protein powder is better than any other form of food. And therefore this kind of leads people to think that, how many protein shakes should I have per day? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 or more? And I'm sure there are many different meal plans and bogus coaches out there that are setting up meal plans with a billion different protein shakes in them just to try and get that protein intake up. But do you really need to take protein shake after protein shake to make those gains? Is it really going to be a massive difference between taking protein powder versus normal food? Let's find out. Now let's start off with the myth itself. So protein powder, and we're going to talk about whey protein powder here just to keep things simple. Now whey protein powder is a high quality source of protein. That's a fact. It has a high biological value, which basically means that the majority of the protein contained within whey can be absorbed and used by the body. The lower the biological value, the less of the protein within the food gets used by the body. So some poor examples of sources of protein would be sort of like wheat or soy or something like that. It has protein qualities in it, but to a lesser degree than something like whey. So from that point of view, it is good. And this is then leading people to think, well, this higher quality of protein therefore means the higher quality, if I just fill my day with eating this high quality whey protein, then my muscle gains are going to be exponentially bigger than everybody else out there who's just eating normal food. So that's the myth. Now, is it true? Okay, so we know that protein powder is high quality. That's a fact. We also know that it has less carbs and fat as tag-along calories. So if you're trying to fit things into your macros, then a protein powder and a protein shake generally is pretty much all protein with a very small amount of carbs and a very small amount of fat, and then that's only added to by the liquid that you take it with. So if you have it with sort of whole fat milk, then obviously that's going to take the carb and the fat content higher. If you have it with water, then you're just going to get the pure powder. But from a generally speaking point of view, then it has very few tag-along carbs and fat. So from a point of view of hitting the macros, trying to get protein in, it's a good source. Also, it's convenient. So after you've finished a workout, now do you really feel like you want to tuck into that steak dinner or tuck into that chicken and jacket potato that you've prepared? When you've just finished your workout, you've just hit the showers, do you really want that food just sitting in your stomach? Probably not. And more often than not, you're probably on the run, you're going somewhere else, or you're traveling somewhere after the gym, so you're driving, or maybe you're going out, or whatever it may be, and you just want a quick hit of protein just to satisfy your need for protein synthesis after your workout. So you just have the shake. It's convenient, I get it. But one thing that protein powder is not is magic. It's not something invented by Harry Potter and Gandalf. It is not this magic ingredient that as soon as you take it, it's going to create this massive amount of lean muscle tissue and help you lose a ton of body fat. It's just food at the end of the day. If you want to get those results, you want to build muscle, get yourself in a calorie surplus, prioritize a high protein diet, but it doesn't mean to say that it all has to come from protein powder. And likewise on the flip side, if you're trying to lose weight and lose fat, then it's a calorie deficit you need to be in. necking pint after pint of protein powder and just, almost taking it raw straight out of the packet just isn't going to have this miraculous effect. And in fact, you don't really take a protein shake. It is just food. It's just protein in the form of a powder that you drink. It's not got magic properties. Food is just as good as any protein shake out there. If you're picking high quality protein sources from real foods, they've also got a ton of extra added benefits like micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, those sorts of things. So if you're picking chicken, lean beef, turkey, fish, eggs, all good high quality protein sources that are good to eat, tasty, and have a ton of micronutrients in them. And in terms of the material benefit you're going to get in terms of muscle growth and fat loss, there's no real difference to the protein powder that's costing you a fortune and you're just guzzling down by the boatload every day. Also, real food helps you with that feeling of hunger. Now, it's a really bad idea if you're trying to lose fat and weight and you're probably you should be in a calorie deficit. If you're in that situation, then drinking lots of your calories is not great for staving off those feelings of hunger. Liquid calories are really kind of almost a waste. So from a point of view of a pre or a post workout, I get it. It's a good choice to have. It's quick, it's convenient, it's easy to drink, it's easy to absorb after your workout. But for the rest of the day, drinking calories doesn't really make sense, especially if you're struggling with hunger. It's not going to leave you with that full feeling in the stomach. It's not going to keep you satisfied for hour after hour. And it's going to probably mean that you tend towards binging and overeating and going over your macros. So real food helps with that. It helps with the feeling of fullness in the stomach. So hit those high protein sources, hit the eggs, the chicken, the beef, all of those different types of things to stave off those hunger feelings. And lastly, real food tastes damn good. Who doesn't enjoy, unless you're a vegetarian, a lovely steak in a nice restaurant, or a nice chicken curry or something like that, or scrambled eggs on toast, eggs Benedict, all these types of things. That sort of food tastes good. And that's an important factor in the whole process, is that if you're not enjoying what you're eating, how long are you really going to stick at it for? Can you really imagine that you are going to have protein shakes for breakfast, lunch and dinner for the rest of your life? Because that's what some people are doing to try and lose weight or trying to build muscle. But yeah, you could stick at it for a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months, but it's not long term. What happens when you come off of those protein shakes and go on to real food? Have you got the right strategy to stick to the right sort of diet? Probably not. So now's the time to start eating properly. Eating highly nutritious, protein-rich foods, dense with micronutrients, really good for you, and probably cheaper than those protein shakes that you're filling your diet up with at the moment. So to answer the question, is protein powder better as a protein source than real food? Well, the answer is a big fat no. They do have their benefit because they're a high quality source of protein that is convenient, but it's not inherently better and it's not inherently going to lead to exponential amounts of muscle growth day after day, week after week, year after year. So my advice to you, use them sparingly at the right time, but fill most of your diet with whole foods and fresh protein sources. Myth busted. And hit the subscribe button because tomorrow we are talking about how much protein you should be eating. Because there's a myth out there that you can have the more and more and more and more and more protein, and that will lead to more and more and more and more muscle growth. So is that myth true? Hit the subscribe button and you'll find out tomorrow.